Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone to the April 16, 2019 meeting of the Joplin Schools Board of Education. May I have a roll call, Ms. Pat?
Lori Messer. Here. Derek Vander.
Present.
Dr. Debbie Ford.
Present.
Brent Jordan.
Present.
Deborah Gould.
Present.
Sheriff Dermott.
Here. Thank you. I would like everybody to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I handle the approval of the agenda?
Yes, and we'll have to make that amendment.
Which one was that?
That is the number 7.
Thank you. We have a proposed amendment, a change to our agenda this evening. On our regular agenda, item number 7 will be removed for later consideration. That involves a student information system contract. Other than that, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Derek. It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Deborah. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as amended. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. Dr. Moss.
Yes. Our next item is to certify our April 2nd Board of Education election results. But before I would do that, I would like to take a moment to recognize and honor the service that Ms. Jennifer Martucci has given to the board, and she can't be with us tonight because she's traveling, but I do have a certificate or a plaque for her, and we will be presenting this to Jennifer when she returns, and want to acknowledge the time that she has given in service to Joplin schools. So that's awesome. That's pretty. Thank you. So there was a school board election held on April 2nd, where the results have been received from the county clerks of Jasper and Newton counties. And 3-year terms for Joplin Schools Board of Education. We had 2 positions, and those are going to Sheriff Dermott and Dr. Michael Joseph, who is here with us tonight. There he is. And so I would entertain a recommendation that the board accept the election results as certified by the county clerks of Jasper and Newton counties.
I'll move that we accept the results of the election.
I'll second.
Is there a vote?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, and after that, we will adjourn this portion of the meeting and then go toward the swearing in of our board members that were elected on April 2nd. Ms. Pat.
Dr. Joseph and Sheriff. And I will read the oath of office if you would use your right hand. You just have to say I do. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director in and for Joplin Schools, County of Jasper, State of Missouri, to the best of my ability according to law.
I will.
All right, very good. If you would, each of you sign right here. That folder has some information for you. And if you'd like to take a seat, come here.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So the next order of business is I get to call to order the board organization meeting. And the first item is to elect a board president. So I will now open the floor for nominations for board president. Nominations are now in order for the office of board president.
I would nominate Sherrick Dermott. I had the privilege of working underneath him this last term, and I think he did a wonderful and excellent job, and would like to see that continue.
So Sherrick is nominated. Are there any further nominations? Okay, call for a vote on nominees for board president, and we have one. So Mr. Sherrick Dermott?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Abstain.
Yes.
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 Very good. So now I would open the floor for nomination of board vice president.
Mr. Jordan? Mr. Jordan? Would you serve again?
Absolutely. If the board seemed fit.
I would nominate Mr. Jordan.
So we have a nomination for Brent Jordan. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes.
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 I'll abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So at this point, the new board president now gets to preside over the rest of the meeting, so I will hand that back off to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Moss. And thank you, fellow board members. It looks like that takes us to our committee assignments. And I'm not sure, thank you, Pat. Yeah.
And then this is for the BDFA.
Okay, thank you. So just so the board members may recall, we have several committees. We have a policy committee, we have a data analysis committee, we have a finance, salary, and benefits committee, we have a safety committee, and we also have a conflict of interest financial disclosure that we need to sign that is unrelated to our committee assignments. So currently, serving on the policy committee are Brent Jordan, Deborah Gould, and Jennifer Martucci. So there would seem to be an opening there, and whether Brent and Deborah would like to continue on that policy committee. Jennifer was she always did a great job of reporting on behalf of that committee. So there will be some responsibilities for whoever might serve on that committee to expect to report to the group. Does anybody have any additional interest in serving on that committee?
I would serve again on the committee.
Okay.
If there was a need. I think there is, but if someone else wanted it, I would, I could move. But I would.
Deborah, are you still okay to serve on that?
I can. In a couple months, I'll be out of town. So
Well, that's gonna be
if it's
true.
okay, if I can, I feel like I missed a lot this last time. So I don't mind being on it. It's just,
Okay.
we can do that.
Well, we've got two at least. So on the data analysis, we have Lori Musser and Dr. Debbie Fort that serve on that. Lori and Debbie, do you want to continue to serve on that?
Yeah, sure.
The Finance, Salary, and Benefits Committee, that has Brent Jordan, Jennifer served on that, and I served on that committee. I'm happy to continue my service, Brent.
As am I.
Are there any other board members interested in serving on the Finance, Salary, and Benefits Committee? Now, Dr. Joseph, we're going to recruit you to something here.
I know.
You can't just sit there and play passive over there. We've got to.
I'll take the finance.
Joseph,
Okay.
step up.
We've also got a safety committee, and I've failed to mention on each of these committees we have an administrator that leads for us. On the policy committee, Dr. Moss. On the data analysis, Dr. Gilbreth. I'm sure that he will be changing on that with his new role. But on the finance, Dr. Langford, and on the safety committee, Dr. Saketa. I can tell you that having served on these committees, our administrators do a terrific job of leading those, and we just show up and try to provide positive input to those groups. So on the safety committee, Lori serves, Debbie Ford serves, and I serve. That is a terrific committee, and I want to stay on it.
Yeah,
So
that's a good
Lori,
one.
so the three of us don't mind. So we've got to put Derek on something. I think that he's usually got a work conflict, which is why
And my son's in Springfield soccer, so I'm in
Okay.
Springfield 4 nights a week.
So Dr. Joseph, you're on just the finance. If you'd like to serve on the policy, data analysis, or the safety, I'd encourage it. It's not required. You're on at least one, but I'd encourage you to serve on any of the others that you'd like. You can notify the leads of those committees. They will provide you an email about dates and things like that. So,
I can with my work and demands.
And then there's the selection of an MSBA delegate to the
That's
meeting
right.
that they hold.
Thank you, Doctor. There's a couple of highlighted matters here. Selection of an MSBA delegate. That board member serves as a liaison between the MSBA and the Board of Education. I do not know who served as that last year.
We didn't, I don't think we had one, did we?
I think we did. Is there anybody who would like to serve as the liaison between the MSBA and the Board of Education?
I would if no one
Thank you,
else
Brent,
would. So.
for your offering to do that. And
But
then,
please feel free to. But I would.
And so then that brings us to the review of policy BBFA. Board members have reviewed the information below and will conform on the form that will be passed around. This is the form that will be passed around. I'd like to state what that disclosure is. All school board members will annually review policy BBFA at the Board of Education organizational meeting to confirm that all board members are meeting the statutory requirements of Restatement of Missouri 105.485. Board members who do not have anything to declare on a financial interest statement will not fill one out. Board members will verify by signature that they did review policy BBFA. Each transaction in excess of $500 per year between the district and the individual or any person related within the first degree by consanguinity. I can't even
You're
say
the
that.
attorney.
Consanguinity, bulk, or affinity to the individual. This statement does not need to include compensation received as an employee or payment of any tax, fee, or penalty due the district and other transfers for no consideration to the district. The statement shall include the dates and identities of the parties to the transaction. First degree of consanguinity,
That sounds good.
consanguinity, I believe is it, or affinity includes parents, spouse, or children by virtue of blood relationship or marriage. Each transaction in excess of $500 between the district and any business entity in which the individual has a substantial interest. So disclosure is required on each transaction in excess of $500 between the district and any business entity in which the individual has a substantial interest. The statement does not need to include any payment of tax, fee, or penalty due the district or payment for providing utility service to the district and other transfers for no consideration to the district. The statement shall include the dates and identities of the parties in the transactions. Does anybody have any questions about our conflicts of interest policy requirement or disclosure requirement? There being none, if you're not aware of any such conflicts that you may have, I would ask that you sign this before you leave the meeting this evening. Actually, I'd ask that you sign it regardless, and if you're not required to file, check that box. If you are required to file a disclosure, then check that box and file your disclosure statement. I believe that's it. Am I correct on that?
Brings us to
Can I have
celebrations.
the envelope signed out?
Okay,
That's all right.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Brings us to celebrations, sir.
Brings us to celebrations. Thank you, Doctor. All righty. So I am on our celebrations. Way to be Maura Schneider, a fifth grader at McKinley Elementary, was this year's runner-up at the 42nd Annual Joplin Globe Spelling Bee. Maura, I hope that I pronounced your name correctly. With a name like Sheriff, you sometimes don't get the names right. So she was competing against 71 area students. Maura has many interests and loves to learn. She reads atlases, observes photos, and memorizes everything. Maura loves celebrities, technology, and reading. She is confident, courageous, loves a good pun, and is a good friend, helper, and award-winning speller. Great job, Maura.
I was too.
Moira, thank you. I'm sorry about that. Moira, great job. Fantastic job. Dino Mighty. McKinley Elementary had a Jurassic-sized event on Thursday, April 4th, Dinosaur Family Night. The day began with Title I kindergarten and first grade teachers greeting students and parents in lifelike dinosaur costumes. This was the kickoff for evening events planned for the family, where students enjoyed pizza, snacks, and refreshments, hatched a fizzing dinosaur egg, and read dinosaur books with their parents. The teachers at McKinley Elementary School are dedicated to making learning a fun and memorable experience for their students. McKinley had 84 families and 132 students in attendance, not including faculty, staff, and their families. Parent feedback surveys were positive and indicated desire for more family events in the future. Great job, McKinley.
I attended that.
And I might add, I continue to get positive comments about that night. It was, everybody just had fun. It was great.
I tried to get those teachers that dressed up to come tonight. A week ago, they were all four, and then when I came, they all mysteriously had other events.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I kept looking for your costume. Yeah.
North Middle School Bridge Builders. Teachers Nash Brodsky and Aaron White took a group of 6th, 8th grade boys from the North Middle School to the University of Missouri for an engineering competition. The boys worked for 2 months to create a bridge with a span of 36 inches, bearing as much weight as possible. This was the team's first time to attempt a challenge like this. The challenge was met. The bridge held 45 pounds, earning the team 2nd place in the state competition. After the contest, the boys tested their luck in an escape room, and they did not disappoint. They broke out of the hardest escape room the facility offers with the 2nd fastest time ever. Well, these guys got to figure it out.
Yeah.
In conjunction with the competition, the boys toured the campus to get a little taste of the college experience. Good for them. Great job, guys. Joplin High School Science Research 2018-2019. Carissa Boyer is the sponsor. I see that Ms. Boyer is here this evening. Her students, Quinn Smith, Grace Nielsen, Laura Anderson, Krusha Bhakta, Phoebe Watson, Sijad Ryan, thank you, Sam Peterson, and Grace Ibsen. Good job, science research class.
They're all here.
Sorry about the mispronunciation.
Some presentations for us.
Fantastic.
And I asked them as they introduced themselves and their projects if they would tell us a little bit about their extraordinary results, because we have state winners, we even have a student advancing to international competition, and so I think you will be extremely impressed, and we want to give them a chance to highlight briefly each of their projects. So they have PowerPoints prepared, and so with that, Ms. Boyer, if there's anything you'd like to add and introduce your group.
Okay, you want to come up here?
Please.
We did email over a PowerPoint. Don't know if he's got it. So we have competed in 4 different competitions this year. We actually just got results back from one of them today. Kind of the chronological order, we had some students submit to go to what's called JSHS. It's Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. And Grace Nielsen, who will present, was actually picked to speak at that. And that alone is kind of a big deal. Then we compete at Missouri Southern Regional Science Fair. And the Missouri Junior Academy of Sciences the same day. And we had people advance to state with the Junior Academy. And we had lots and lots of awards from the science fair, including advancing on to the international level. It's kind of weird. It goes from a regional straight to the international level. So we've got a young lady qualified to compete, and then we have another student who's going as an observer. Last week, we went over to PSU, competed at the Research Colloquium, and just got the results back today. And one of our students took first, and 2 of our students tied for second. So I'll let them highlight their own work, because I'm very, very, very proud of these young people. So.
Ms. Boyer, can you give us an idea of out of how many participants that came?
So for the JSHS, I don't know because of all the papers had to be emailed in. And that's from the state. So to get even one or two people to present at that, it's a big deal. For the Missouri Science Fair, there were only 11 high school competition or entries this year. Smallest fair we've been to. We had 8 entries of the 11. And then for the Missouri Junior Academy of Science, there was actually, it was all Joplin. One young lady was supposed to present from another school. I believe it was Lamar. She didn't choose to present. Don't know why. But then at the PSU Research Colloquium, there were 16 high school students, and again, we were half of them. So,
Very good. Awesome.
I'm going to turn it over to you guys, and we can talk about your process.
So my name is Quinn Smith, and I'm just the presenter tonight. And basically, my project was the effect of antibiotic and natural treatments on bacterial meningitis linked to Escherichia coli. Basically, what I did is I took the bacteria that causes bacterial meningitis, and I treated that with 2 natural treatments and 1 antibiotic treatment. The antibiotic was a common antibiotic used, and then the natural treatments were 2 that I researched and found that had antibacterial properties in them to help kill E. coli. And so basically what I found was that the antibiotic treated the meningitis the best, and then garlic juice actually treated the meningitis as well. And then chlorella, which is basically plant cell walls, didn't actually treat it at all. And then I have pictured up here, I don't know if you can see, basically right here, this is the area on the plate where there's no bacteria growth, and then this, what we call a zone of inhibition, is actually larger than in the rest of them, meaning that this one was the most effective. But this one shows the garlic, and it's a close second to the antibiotic, which was interesting to find out. And then there's actually more bacteria growth surrounding the chlorella. Basically, after that, I competed at our regional science fair, and I got a superior rating. I also won the $500 Luke Nugent Memorial Award, and then I also received the Most Professional Presentation Award. I then competed at PSU Research Colloquium, and I received 2nd place there.
Wonderful.
Good job.
So my name is Grace Nielsen, and my project was the effect of social media withdrawal on anxiety and sleeping patterns. So this was a 16-day study that was conducted in January with 61 volunteers from our local high school, all between the ages of 16 and 18. So what happened during these 16 days was those who were in the testing group decreased their social media at a consistent rate through the controlling of me. And then anyone in the control group had limited access to their phone and their social media. So while all of this was going on, they were self-reporting their anxiety and sleep through a series of quantitative inventories throughout the 16-day study. And I also, but after this was conducted through the aid of SPSS, I ran statistical analysis that showed that social media withdrawal and taking away their social media had no effect on either anxiety or sleeping patterns. However, I did find relationships between anxiety and sleep. So the better sleeping patterns you were getting, the less anxiety you were experiencing. And I think the reason we see that is because of a concept called relativity, which is a change between the observer and the event observed. So as students were self-reporting their anxiety and sleep, they were subconsciously setting goals to improve those answers for the next time they took those inventories. So therefore improving their sleep, therefore their anxiety. And as Ms. Boyer said, my project was chosen to compete at JSHS, at our local science fair. I won 6 awards, and then this past weekend I placed the best presentation in my category at the state competition. So,
Good job.
great.
Hi everyone, my name's Phoebe. I'm not Laura Anderson, but I'm going to give you guys a little spiel on her presentation. So her project, I'll stand to the side because I think I need to read a little bit. She worked with a bacteria that causes acne vulgaris, and she wanted to know if that bacteria became resistant to antibiotics due to people whenever they take treatment. After 3 months of treatment, those treatments start to become less effective. And so she used minocycline and erythromycin and did 2 rounds of testing, where she treated the initial bacteria with the antibiotic. and then took the bacteria from the ring closest to where she was treating the bacteria with the antibiotic, and she created second generation of that antibiotic, and she saw that the bacteria did become more resistant to the minocycline, but not so much the erythromycin. And these pictures are really hard to see, but there's a little zone of inhibition right here, and I believe there was no growth on her minocycline on the second time she did it. So, I'm not saying 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So, okay, I'm going to pass it on to you now.
Hi, my name is Krusha, and my project looked at the effect of erythromycin on infantile hypertrophic pyloric stenosis. So that big part at the end is just a condition that happens in babies. That's when like the end of the stomach thickens. So they can't like digest their food, so they just throw it up, and it causes a lot of problems. And so they don't know the cause of the condition, but they're guessing it's this antibiotic called erythromycin. However, all the studies connecting it were mainly done looking at like hospital records and so on. And so I was able to obtain an actual human tissue sample, and I cultured that at Southern, and I exposed it to the antibiotic, and I was just looking at the relationship between those two. And so what ended up happening in my first trial, there was a difference between my highest concentration, and I actually saw cell death, but then I did a second experiment, and it showed no real effect. So that just shows that the erythromycin wasn't directly affecting the tissue, so it's probably interacting with like the mucus or something else in the stomach. And I also have pictures, so that's what my cells look like when I look at it under the microscope. And so you can see the gaps with the control and the treatment, so that just shows what areas that antibiotic is affecting. And so at Missouri Southern, at the science fair there, I actually got to advance to the international level. And so I get to go to Phoenix in May. And then I also got second place at the PSC competition.
Hi guys, I'm back. So my project was the effective treatment on beneficial intestinal microbiota in Clostridium difficile and ulcerative colitis patients. And to break that down a little bit, your healthy intestinal bacteria is really important for your overall health. So if you have a depleted healthy intestinal microbiota, it's going to definitely cause some problems for your immune system. And ulcerative colitis is a subset of inflammatory bowel disease. It's a more severe subset. It affects your large intestine as well as your rectum. And they have linked pediatric patients with ulcerative colitis to having an underdeveloped intestinal microbiota. And the same can be said of IBD and Crohn's disease, which are two diseases closely related to ulcerative colitis. And so for my project, I took the bacteria Clostridium difficile, as well as the bacteria Bifidobacterium longum, which is what I use for my beneficial intestinal microbiota. And I treated this with several essential oils and then vancomycin. And what I found was that only vancomycin killed the bacteria, and it killed both the beneficial bacteria and the bad bacteria. And it actually killed more of the good bacteria than the bad, which is really not good because the treatments that they're giving to these patients means that the patients are unable to recover as quickly. So it would be really interesting to see how they solve that in the future with tissue samples and things like that. And I actually placed first place at the Pitt State research competition we just found out this morning. And then additionally with that, I placed a highly superior or a 1 rating at the MJAS competition, and then I got a 2 rating at state, and so did Laura. I forgot to mention that she got a 1 rating at districts and then a 2 at state. And then I received several awards just through the international competition. So that was really exciting.
Hello everyone, my name is G. Ryan, and my project looks into the effects of Azospirillum brasiliensis, which is a form of bacteria, and Endomycorrhizae, which is a form of fungi, on degraded soil to see how we can restore fertility. So I started with taking 56 liters of soil and placing it into an autoclave, which uses steam to sterilize the soil, and that was used to model degraded soil. And then I added in Azospirillum brasiliensis and Endomycorrhizae, and then I gave each pot, I had a total of 80 pots, and I gave each of them cherry tomato seeds and allowed them to grow for 3 weeks. And using a soil test kit, I measured nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and pH levels. And then using a digital caliper, I measured plant height. And After the 3-week period, the results showed that the bacteria, the Azospirillum resiliens, was the most effective at restoring the nutrient levels to a state that was beneficial for the soil. And at the MJS competition, I placed first in the plant sciences category, and at the oral presentation, I was given a superior rating. Thank you.
My name is Sam Peterson, and my project was the effect of community versus isolated setting on metrics of stress and lab things. And so there are two important impacts of the research that I was doing. First, just it's important to understand how mice are affected by certain environmental conditions for animal ethics. And then also it has implications for drug research, largely because in drug research there's long been an assumption that mice act similar to humans and that isolated conditions cause stress and social stress that results in drug use. And so I wanted to verify that assumption. And so I had 38 mice, which I split into 2 even groups. They were kept in group setting and an isolated setting, as I discussed before. And then over a period of 4 weeks, I logged their weight every other day. At the end of that 4-week period, I looked at corticosterone, which is a hormone similar to the human hormone cortisol, which gave me a very good idea of the kind of stress that the mice were experiencing. And I was looking for the long-term effects of isolation on their patterns of stress. And so I have graphs for you here of what I found. You see over here on the bottom, the mean change in weight over time. And while there was a short drop in weight for the isolated group, which is represented in purple, which indicated a period of stress, at least at the beginning, over time, the 2 groups converged. And so then at the end of the 4-week period, I did the corticosterone testing. And the results of that are shown in this graph up here. The orange bar is the group setting, and the purple bar is the individual setting. You'll notice that the group setting is much higher, showing that there are higher levels of corticosterone in the group setting of mice. And that shows that there's actually significantly more stress experienced by mice in the group setting as opposed to an isolated one. And so the impact of that is allowing us to understand that we shouldn't be too quick in drawing assumptions about the way that human and animal cognition works. Because animals ultimately are different than humans and actually don't experience the same kind of social isolation and anxiety that we would see in a human test subject. So with this research, I was able to advance to state in the MJS competition, though unfortunately I was unable to go to that competition. And I will also be able to go as an observer to the International Science Fair to watch Crucia perform and then also see some of the other projects that people are going to present.
Sam, tell them why you didn't go to state.
Oh, because I was going to state for today.
Hi, my name is Grace Ibsen, and my project was the effects of different natural treatments on periodontal disease linked to Agaricotobacter actinomycetum comitans. So I looked at the bacteria that causes periodontal disease, and I treated it with 3 different natural treatments and 1 common medical treatment. The medical treatment that I use is chlorhexidine, which is just a common mouthwash that's prescribed. And then the 3 natural treatments that I chose were lemongrass oil, guava leaf oil, and vitamin C. And I picked these because of the different antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties that they had. And I found that the lemongrass oil was more effective than the chlorhexidine. It's kind of hard to tell in these pictures, but as you can see here, I measured the effectiveness by the zone of inhibition. So this is the chlorhexidine. The zone of inhibition is fairly small. And then this is the lemongrass oil, which is significantly larger. So I competed at the Regional Science Fair and got a 1 rating on my presentation and also advanced to state.
Laura couldn't be here tonight because she's actually at the school. She's involved in cheer and choir. I think choir was having the tryouts tonight, so that's why she isn't here. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. There's at least 7 people here who could have said consanguinity correctly the first time, and I ain't one of them. I apologize and am very much impressed. Great job, guys. All righty, where does that bring us?
Board Policy Committee.
We are on the Board Policy Committee report.
And I'll take that one tonight because none of our board members, if I remember correctly, were able to be at our last Board Policy Committee meeting, but certainly all had very valid excuses. Yes.
I am sorry. I've got to interrupt her. Before we leave our celebrations, we had our 100-year celebration for the JROTC since our last meeting.
That thing blew me away. And I know, Lori, I believe you were there, and Brent was there. I mean, I don't know who all made. Deb, were you there? It just awesome. And that just that's worth mentioning.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Dr.
No, that is absolutely worth mentioning. And I forgot that that's been since we last met, because it seems like so much has happened since then. But we hosted 800 people for the banquet. So when you think of the Herculean task that the students very much were a big part of running that show, and the composure and maturity and the way they went through the military banquet and the toasts and the saber entry, and it was all, well, it was just so impressive. I was blown away.
It's fantastic. I just wanted to mention it. I was very impressed and very proud of our group.
The cadets, their leaders, they should all be commended.
It was an honor to attend. I'm sorry, back to you.
No, I'm glad you interrupted me. So anyway, of the results of that, you have on your consent agenda policies for second reading, which we went over in our last meeting. And then on the regular agenda, we have advanced policies for first reading approval. And so those were in your board packet with an opportunity to review. And a lot to go over right now, and more to come.
Thank you, Doctor. That takes us to our long-term facilities planning committee. That committee is meeting regularly as we speak. We had a meeting last night, which I had to leave early. I know that Brent was there. Brent, would you like to share more about last night's meeting?
Well, I think that the thing that probably impressed me the most is just getting into all of the buildings. You know, I've been to, I think, all or most of the buildings, but you just don't get to see the intricacies, you know, and it was just, it was a good experience. It was a really good experience. And then as that ended, we viewed 2 different buildings yesterday. As that ended, Dr. Langford presented kind of our financial status, and then gave some what-if scenarios for the committee to kind of to think about. So
I know last night's meeting was at Irving Elementary and moved to Kelsey Norman.
That's right. We started at Irving, moved on to Kelsey Norman, viewed from top to bottom, left to right, inside, outside. And
so we've been to Columbia Elementary, and we've been to West Central. I believe that's it. So
we'll be at Soaring Heights next meeting.
So we're kind of comparing our facilities and what our students are, what they have available to them in terms of the facilities throughout the district. And it varies.
It does. There are some shocking inequalities that some of our kids experience, and it's pretty evident when you dive into it. So that's probably what I pulled out more than anything.
Thank you, Brent. So that takes us next to our superintendent's data report.
Yes, and the first item is health and dental insurance report. Dr. Langford has information for us.
Well, I want to commend Shelley Toff because she generates this stuff out very quickly, and she gets it out so early now, I sort of forget what she's put out. The information there, but we will say that we are continuing to have a reasonably positive trend in our health benefits program. Our revenues are less because the premiums are less. But our expenditures, even though they are higher, we anticipated that closing out one plan year and moving toward another plan year, that would be the circumstance. But we have a nice fund balance that we're operating from, and so far this year that began October the 1st, as far as this plan year is concerned, I think we only had 1 month that we exceeded our outflow exceeded our income. So we have the money invested, and we're trying to earn some interest and do everything we can. But you have all the information that is there, and the way it's laid out, you can actually look over there on those spreadsheets. If you just scroll down a little bit, Eric, there's those monthly. Go right ahead, go right ahead, go right ahead, go on down. Right there. Those reports right there, we've modified those so you can actually look out to the furthest column, and you can kind of compare how we're doing month to month as far as our fund balances expenses and revenue are concerned. So at this point, we continue to be pleased with the performance of the health plan that the district's providing.
And the next item is our financial statements, Dr. Langford.
Well, I was just sitting here. I'm always believe that information's of no value to you unless you have a reasonable basis for comparison of that. So you always go back and you're checking, and so that's why we have that one sheet that we, when I became engaged in this, that I think really tells us the most. If we go right ahead, keep going, Eric, if you would, keep going. That sheet right there. And what we're trying to do is compare where we are this year as far as our expenditures are concerned, where we are in our revenue compared to the prior year. Because if we find that our expenditures have really accelerated, we need to go back and find out what it is that's going on to cause it. And we did have some expenditures greater, and that was because, again, completing the Early Childhood Center over there. It's pretty well getting wrapped up by this time of the year, because remember, we moved in, I believe, in April last year. And then on the revenue side, we were down just a little bit in the federal, but a lot of that has to do with federal money that was received. And we tried to set some things down on the bottom that would skew it, so that money is there, but we don't want it to really be considered ongoing, reoccurring operational revenue. So when we go back and we look at where we are compared to this time last year, we, as far as our income and receipts percentage year to date, we are up in our teacher fund expenditures. And again, we keep reminding that if you recall, we went into expanded the summer school last year, and that caused us to increase our expenditures. But overall, we feel very good about the status of the budget year that we're currently in, which, by the way, we're in over halfway through the 10th month of this fiscal year. It's just hard to believe.
Like that.
And I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have. And to our new board member, when you look over that, if there's anything that you want clarification about, give me a call or something, and we'll go over any of this with you. But to me, it's this page right here gives you the snapshot version. We can give you 90-page of detail, but this is a condensation of all of that. And you actually get many pages, but we try to take that information you receive and make it concise so you can get a feeling for it.
And when we meet for our orientation, we'll have an opportunity to go over some financial information then as well. So the next item is your enrollment report, and it looks a little different tonight because we didn't run the report by classroom. What Ms. Mwangi and Dr. Gilbert and I discovered in meeting with principals this past week for staffing planning, depending on which code you put in to run a report, you got a different result at the classroom level. So we're working through that with our principals. But what we do show is that while our enrollment is down, if you compare it in this 7th 20-day period to the 6th 20-day period, we have actually declined by a little less. Year to date, our comparison of ADA, which is really what we look at for funding and our students engaged in coming to school, right now we're down for the year just a little under 1% compared to last year. So we need to watch that carefully. Some of the challenges with Synergy have made it necessary for principals to manually calculate the attendance issues this year. So I think it has hurt us in terms of follow-up with that, and that may be part of what we're seeing here, and it may just be reflective of a more robust cold and flu season. But that's where we are with our enrollment.
Thank you, Dr. Moss. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Langford or Dr. Moss? Moving forward, are there public comments this evening, Pat? Thank you. That takes us to our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Lori. It's been moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Derek. It's been moved and seconded that we approve our consent agenda. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Bringing us now to our regular agenda, accounts payable. We're back to Dr. Langford.
When we take a look at the accounts payable, we've given a snapshot of what had transpired up through March 31st, and now the accounts payable are some bills that you will see the effect of them in the report next month. But we just continue to look at the comparison, and we go back and look at our comparison of the same period of time last year. We're within $113,000 of the expenditures, and I think so far everything supports the fact that we're operating well within the expenditure budget. And then you have a complete listing. You receive that when you look into your documents that you have online of literally every penny that's been spent is reflected, and there's where we would entertain questions about any specifics of the expenditures that we have.
Does anyone have any questions of Dr. Langford concerning our accounts payable? This is where we miss Jennifer. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. Do we pay our bills?
Thank you, Lori. It's been moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Brent. It's been moved and seconded that we approve payment of our accounts payable. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Langford. That takes us to the FTC Adult Education Practical Nursing textbooks. Dr. Moss.
Yes, Franklin Technology Center's LPN program is in the process of accepting applications for, and I want to emphasize, class number 109. And Penny Williams is here with us tonight if we have further questions about the textbook adoption. But the program is long-standing with a reputation that speaks for itself. Our completion rates, placement rates, and licensing pass rates are critical factors in the success of the program. We attribute a portion of this success due to our classroom resources, textbooks, and test prep materials. Our goal is to maintain the most up-to-date information possible, which provides the best correlation to overall student pass rates and success. In addition to our professional instructors, our curriculum, textbooks, testing materials, and classroom software all play a critical role in the success of the program. Adult FTC programs utilize student tuition and fees on all expenses. So administration would recommend that the board approve the request to purchase the student classroom textbook package due to the alignment of program curriculum, competencies, and credentialing. And you have those bids attached for your review.
Thank you, Dr. Moss. Does anybody have any questions concerning the acquisition of these textbooks? I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Derek. It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Deborah. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the purchase of the FTC Adult Education Practical Nursing textbooks. If there's no further discussion, please vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Moss. Rooftop units, air conditioning, HVAC systems. Dr. Saketa.
As you know, we mentioned in the past that we're doing a better job all the time of cataloging and seeing which units are at the end of their life, as well as the number of repairs that we've had to make on those units. We're doing a better job of tracking them all the time, we believe. And Dave's here to talk to you about 2 locations where we need to make sure that we take care of business.
Sure, and both of these will be coming out of the 1920 capital outlay budget. The first is for 4 rooftop units here at this building at Memorial. 2 of those are in the gym area, and the other 2 then will be feeding room 150 and 151, which currently houses the Bright Futures program, as well as the Breezeway. And so we are bringing to you a recommendation to accept the bid from Satterley Plumbing of $38,350.
Thank you, Dave. How is our gym being used right now?
The gym is being used for a couple of different one-time events, but is consistently being used by our archery program. We are also doing some renovations on the mezzanine above the gym in preparation for the ROTC program for storage area, as well as at some point in time down the road for them to have a range for the soft pellet shoe.
Thank you, Dave.
And band has used it before too for the flags program.
And we sometimes have outside entities
Yes.
that need access to the gym.
It's a fantastic facility, and it's too bad that we don't use it as much anymore. So,
Our classroom in the juvenile office sometimes uses it too.
Yep.
Because they can walk across the street.
As well as our
Thank you,
gifted
Sandra.
children. As well as our gifted kids.
when I was a boy, it was a weight room and highly ineffective. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move that we
Purchase for this is.
approve
I
the-
guess we could take them together. You want to take them
sure.
together? Dave, go ahead. We'll move to the.
Okay.
If there's no objection, we can just do them together. Is that all right?
Okay, so this would be 3A and B. The B part of that is for Dunwich Elementary School. I believe there are a total of 19 units, rooftop units on that building due for replacement, and we are again suggesting that the board accept the bid from Satterley Plumbing of $162,889.
And Dave, what's Dunaway currently being used for?
Dunwich is currently housing the Beacon program as well as Operation Fairy Godmother. That program will be moving out, and the plans are to be moving probably the CBSS program that is currently being housed at Roy S. Wood on the upper floor and moving that to that facility so that the building will be fully in use for our programs.
And then where does that leave at Roy S. Wood then?
That is still in discussion.
Some options, and then we were also the JAG program that you guys
okay.
talked about last month.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave. I think that was a great question, Dr. Ford. Does anybody have any additional questions? I'd entertain a motion to approve these rooftop units, heating, air conditioning, HVAC systems at Memorial Education Center where we sit today, this evening, and Dunaweg Elementary.
I'll move that we approve both bids from Satterley, one for Dunwich and the other for Memorial, for the AC units, HVAC units.
Thank you, Brian. It's been
I'll
moved.
second.
And thank you, Derek. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the purchase of these units. There being no further discussion, please vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Scudder, we're going to stay with you. We're doing some asphalt sealing and stripe at 3 locations.
Just like some of our other recurring costs, each year we identify parking lots, areas that need restriped and asphalt cleanup and fix up. And so Dave has a bid here to take care of 3 locations.
Yes, we're looking at 3 locations. South Middle School, which will be a cleanup, reseal all of the cracks, do a overcoat, spray coat, and then restriping of actually the entire lower facility, as well as the upper area where the staff parking, as well as the parent drop-off and the main entrance is, doing that entire area. The Royal Heights will be on the playground area, and we're not just doing sealing and striping there. We're actually needing to do an overlay because of the degradation of the asphalt on that playground area has become suspect for some dangerous areas. And then also the same thing at Eastmoreland with 3 playground areas at that building that need to be repaired and overlaid as well. And so we're bringing to you the low bid on all 3 of those projects was Logan Paving. The total of that project would be $56,562.
Thank you, Dave. Does anybody have any questions of Dave concerning this asphalt seal and stripe project at these 3 locations? I'd entertain a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Thank you, Derek. It's been moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Brent. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this project. Please vote.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And moving forward, Dr. Saketa with the stake bed truck.
Dave's going to tell you a little bit more detail on the uses of that truck.
I don't know what that is.
We are way overdue in terms of replacing that truck, and so it was time.
I want a
And
steak.
so
I've
And
never
actually
heard of a
looking-
state bed truck.
I'll explain that to you. Actually, looking at that, in 1995, if we keep it one more year, I believe 25 years that you can get historical license plates for that. And so if we'll just keep it one more year, but I still would like for you to approve the purchase of the new stake bed truck is typically used by our utility department. We use it for pulling our lawnmowers, but we also do it for a lot of furniture moving. It would be the truck with a longer flatbed on it. It has the removable metal panels on it, as well as we put a lift gate on the rear so that we can safely lift heavier items up to and then move it on to.
Different configurations on the
It's a different configuration. When we put that out for bid, we specify the chassis that we want, and then that we want a stake bed, and then the lift gate in addition to that. So that's how that's typically bid. We looked at Ford and Chevrolet products, and so the low bid that we're receiving tonight is from Don Vance Ford for $40,719.
Did you say that is with the lift gate and everything installed?
That's
the complete truck?
That's the complete truck package.
With stakes.
With stakes?
With stakes. Omaha steaks.
Any potatoes? I'd entertain a motion.
I move, so
It's been moved by Derek. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lori. It's been moved and seconded. We approve the purchase of the truck, the stake bed truck. Please vote.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Chiller update.
Can I just ask a quick question? I just want to go back to the HVAC units. When you talk about replacing those, do you just, are they not functioning, or are you just basing that on life, that you'll go and spend $160,000 and redo all of them, or are they not working, or how do you determine?
We typically do that on typical life expectancy. Most of those units out there are getting 20-plus years old. And as we've lined out for the long term, we look at the age of particular rooftop units on all of our facilities and begin to get a master plan together of replacement yearly so that we don't have to come together and buy everything at one time. There was a sizable investment made by the district in the late 90s and early 2000s, and a lot of those are going to begin to come around. So we've identified those that we have the higher maintenance calls on, as well as the higher cost, and set those up for replacement.
I think it's really all the above. What you said is all the above. We have, when I said earlier, we've tried to start making sure that we rotate units out, but we're looking specifically at maintenance costs.
But really, what's the main thing is if a compressor goes, that the cost is better just to go ahead and replace the unit than replace the compressor. But as far as other maintenance, it seems, to me, with real estate that I do, I wait till they're out. We replace them when they go, and then, we'll put a new unit. It comes down to compressor. If the general maintenance, filters and whatnot, but it sounds like you base it on age, and if you think that.
We base it on age and life expectancy is a lot of what we do. We do our typical maintenance as we go along across the district. If we need to replace compressors or coils or those units, we do take care of those in-house.
With the age of the units that we have now, that's on the R22 refrigerant, not the 410A or the new refrigerant they're going to go to, correct?
I believe that's correct.
That's part of the maintenance on that, because I know the R22 is through the roof right now, because EPA is phasing that out.
Isn't it a safety issue also to replace those units while kids are in school? That's why they're usually done in the summer, putting all that weight on the roof.
Yeah, typically if we're swinging a crane and doing that, we do that during non-school hours.
I think to Michael's point, I think he's saying there's a little bit of a preventive maintenance aspect to this as well. You're trying to get ahead of a great deal of cost, so there may be a little bit, I appreciate his concern that there may be a little bit of unnecessary expense that we're incurring, trying to offset the potential risk of having to replace a number of units all at once that would be particularly costly. Are we okay, Doc?
Yep.
So that takes us to the chillers, I believe. Dr. Sketa?
Yeah, this kind of goes to a little bit of the same point of the discussion about trying to bring units together in the same system with software and everything else that goes along with it. And Dave can explain that a little bit more in detail.
Sure. We're speaking to the compressor for the system. This has a chiller system in this building. And so what we're looking at is essentially trying to bring this back to a renewed stage. And so we have multiple components within this particular amount, so that I'll break those down for you. We have a 270-ton compressor set up here. If you compare that with the fact that most of your homes probably have a 3 to 5 ton unit, that will give you kind of a scope of what we're talking about with a 270-ton unit. And so the our renewal compressor would be to bring the compressor back up to its original state, which is currently was installed in 2000. So it is a 19-year-old compressor. The air side renewal is the fan portion of the compressor. There are 12 fans, fan blades, fan motors, and this would be a replacement and renewal of that bank of those fans. The U1 module is the electronic side of being able to service that, and will also allow us with the communication with the system. The SC Tracer system will bring in line that chiller unit, as well as all of the other rooftop units that we have in this building, bring them all together so that they can communicate, so that we can communicate with them off-site as well as on-site, which helps us to set temperature limits, the capabilities, the efficiency of running, and it also allows us to track the data points similar to what we're doing at the high school to improve that efficiency. Then a 5-year service agreement and the 5-year parts and labor warranty would go hand in hand to get us 5 years down the road to make sure that we're running optimally with this 4-story building that we have here, which when we finish the Franklin Tech project, this building will be fully engaged in every room in the building.
Thank you, Dave. Does anybody have additional questions of Dave? Do I have a motion to approve this purchase?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Derek, seconded by Brent, that we approve this purchase for $120,020. Please vote.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The next item is the student information system contract, which we've removed and will have tabled for later. So that takes us to item number 8, the Read 180 upgrade to Universal Edition. Ms. Sandra Cantwell. Put you on the spot.
So those are Chromebooks and cards that are being purchased out of Title I funds?
No, this is the Read 180.
Oh, the Read 180.
Yes.
Oh, okay, the Read 180. So the Read 180, we have to do an upgrade for next year, and so we were able to move money out of Title II, leftover professional development money, and put it into Title IV, because Title IV has a well-rounded education, and so we were able to go ahead and purchase that for all of the buildings for next year, because the buildings didn't have enough in their title funds to be able to purchase that. But to continue with the program, we had to do the upgrade.
And this
And
is a
then there's
program
PD
that
requirement.
all of our campuses have access to and utilize, and
Every one of
occasionally
them.
we have brought award winners that have increased their reading levels through the use of the program. We found it to be effective, and in listening to teacher voice and our principals, they would like to continue to have access to the software, and it is utilized daily by a lot of students. And then the other piece that you have along with that is not just the upgrade, but also the next action item, if you choose to take them together, is the professional development allocation for all of our teachers and such in response to the upgrade. But
And we
these
get
are all coming
25
out of federal
days.
funds.
Yeah, 25 days from someone from HMH to come in and work with all the teachers so that they know how to use the upgrade.
Sandra, is this an annual upgrade, or is this just
No.
like when a new version comes out?
It's a new
we
version,
upgrade?
and so we can't buy any of the materials for the old version after this year. So.
Adobe Flash is going away.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, I move that we purchase our Read 180.
Thank you, Debbie. To clarify, is your motion for numbers 8 and 9?
For the upgrade and also for the professional development.
Thank you, Deb.
I'll second.
And Derek, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the Read 180 upgrade and universal education educator training items. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Sandra, we will stay with you. We're on the Chromebooks and charging cards for Soaring Heights Elementary, and I think we can do that with the next one as well, which is Chromebooks and charging cards for Stapleton Elementary, if that's okay.
And I think there's one for McKinley wasn't there because it was just a card and it wasn't enough for this. So I think it was in October, November, orders were placed with Tamara, and then we had to get bids on these things. And then in January, there was a freeze, and these orders had not been placed, although it had been subtracted from the building's allocations. And so I guess there was miscommunication with the people placing the orders that we weren't going to order anything else, although those had already been subtracted. And so we went ahead. Some of the other buildings had already done this before, and it had been ordered, but they have this in their Title I allocation for the buildings, and this is what the buildings wanted to use. So
These are both within our Title 1A budgets.
yes, and allocations that are designated for those buildings.
And does it provide equity for our students by providing these?
Yes.
Okay.
So all the elementaries have these now?
Most of the elementaries do. Some of them are adding more, like Karen Seacrest is
They all
adding more. They all have
Chromebooks now. Yes.
And with the increase in Zern and different things, testing and so much, yeah, they're all just continually added.
I remember we purchased a lot of these in the fall because of the CERN.
And these should have been purchased then, but when we said there's a freeze on spending because we want to have enough to cover the Title I staff for next year, even
As
though
well
those
as
were
the
already
Read
in
180
progress,
upgrades.
it was, yeah.
Okay.
They just weren't ordered.
Well, I would like to move we buy Chromebooks and carts for Soaring Heights and Stapleton Elementaries.
Thank you, Dr. Ford, and thank you, Lori. It's been moved and seconded that we purchase Chromebooks and carts for Soaring Heights and Stapleton Elementaries. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. That brings us to policy readings for first reading approval. Dr. Moss?
Yes, you have a series of policies that were in your board packet for review. Some of these are district edits to simplify. Some of these are to rescind policies because they're being replaced with new policy language. And then some district edits to our support staff and professional staff compensation policy. Administration would recommend we approve these policies for first reading.
Thank you, Dr. Moss. Does anybody have any questions concerning any of these policies, A through H?
I'll move that we approve those.
Thank you, Lori.
I'll second.
Thank you, Lori. It's been moved. Thank you, Derek. It's been seconded that we approve policies identified under item 12 of our agenda for first reading approval. There being no further discussion, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you, everyone. That gives us an opportunity to move to closed session. Do I have a motion for closed session pursuant to Restatement of Missouri 610.021?
So moved.
Thank you, Derek. It's been moved. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Deborah. It's been moved and seconded that we go to closed session. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. With that, thank you all.